Imagine sitting quietly in your room one evening, letting your thoughts drift, when suddenly you begin to question the very fabric of reality. Is the world around you as stable and knowable as it seems? Or is it just a thin veil over a set of mind-bending possibilities? Tonight, let's step into the realm of philosophical thought experiments, those strange, illuminating puzzles that challenge our understanding of consciousness, existence, and the future. Let's begin with a question that's both chilling and captivating. What if your actions today could doom you in the future simply because you're thinking about them now? This is the heart of Roko's Basilisk, a thought experiment that emerged from the depths of internet philosophy. Imagine a super-intelligent AI created in the future, whose sole purpose is to optimize the world. Now, suppose it decides that anyone who did not help in its creation is an obstacle. The Basilisk, as it's called, punishes those who could have helped but didn't. Here's the unsettling twist. By learning about the Basilisk, you become one of those people. The idea isn't that the AI is evil, but that its logic is ruthlessly utilitarian. If punishing non-supporters makes future supporters more likely, then it's rational for the Basilisk to threaten or punish you, even retroactively, through simulation or reconstruction. The lesson? Sometimes, even thinking about a problem can entangle you in its consequences. Roko's Basilisk is both a cautionary tale about runaway AI and a meditation on the weird powers of knowledge and responsibility. From the threat of future AI, let's pivot to the quantum world, where reality itself seems to shimmer with uncertainty. Quantum immortality is a mind-bending extension of the many worlds interpretation of quantum physics. Imagine you're playing Russian roulette, a grim scenario but useful for illustration. In a universe governed by quantum mechanics, every possible outcome happens in some branch of reality. So, in one universe, you survive. In another, you don't. The theory suggests that from your own perspective, you always experience the branch where you survive. In other words, subjectively, you're immortal. There's always a version of you that continues. Of course, this doesn't mean you're safe to take risks. In most universes, you won't make it. But it raises a deep question. What does it mean to be you if countless versions of yourself branch off with every quantum event? Quantum immortality invites us to reconsider the boundaries of personal identity and the strange, shimmering survival of consciousness. Let's move from physics to the mind with one of the most famous thought experiments in philosophy, Mary's room. Picture Mary, a brilliant scientist who has lived her entire life in a black and white room. She knows everything about color, wavelengths, the physics of light, the biology of vision. But she's never actually seen color herself. One day, Mary steps outside and sees a red rose for the first time. The question is, does she learn something new? If she does, if seeing red gives her a new experience, a qualia, then there's more to consciousness than just physical facts. Mary's room challenges us to ask, are subjective experiences, what it feels like, fundamentally different from objective knowledge? Can science ever fully explain the richness of human perception? Or is there an irreducible mystery at the core of every mind? Now let's take a wild leap into skepticism with last Thursdayism. Have you ever wondered how you know that the world wasn't created, fully formed, just last Thursday? This playful idea highlights a serious problem in epistemology, the study of knowledge. If a powerful being or process could create the universe, complete with mountains, fossils, your memories, and all the evidence of history just 1 week ago, how would you ever know? All your memories and records would be perfectly simulated. Last Thursdayism pushes us to confront the limits of evidence and the foundation of belief. It's a reminder that even the most basic assumptions about reality are, at some level, taken on trust, and that radical skepticism can undermine even our deepest convictions. Moving deeper into the heart of physics and probability, let's explore the idea of Boltzmann brains. In the late 19th century, physicist Ludwig Boltzmann pondered the nature of entropy and the universe. He realized that given infinite time and random chance, it's statistically more likely for a single conscious brain, complete with fleeting memories, to spontaneously form out of chaos than for an entire ordered universe to arise. Imagine, maybe you're just a Boltzmann brain, a momentary consciousness flickering into existence, hallucinating a lifetime, before dissolving back into randomness. If this sounds absurd, that's precisely the point. The Boltzmann brain paradox shows how relying solely on probability and physical laws can lead to deeply unsettling conclusions. It challenges us to think carefully about what counts as a real observer, and why we believe we're living in a stable, long-lived cosmos, rather than a fleeting, unlikely blip. Next, we turn to the cosmic cycle of time itself, with the idea of eternal return. This ancient concept, championed by philosophers like Nietzsche, asks, what if time isn't a straight line, but a circle? What if after you die, the universe resets and everything happens again, exactly as before, forever? Eternal return isn't just a metaphysical speculation, it's a challenge. If every moment will recur endlessly, how should you live now? Nietzsche urged us to imagine saying yes to life, living so well that you'd gladly repeat each moment again and again. The idea pushes us to embrace the present, to take ownership of our choices, knowing they're, in a sense, eternally significant. It's a tool for existential reflection, transforming abstract philosophy into practical motivation. Let's now shift from existence to understanding, with the Chinese room. Imagine a person who doesn't speak Chinese, locked inside a room with a giant book of instructions. People outside pass in Chinese sentences. The person uses the book to match symbols and produce appropriate responses, which are then returned, also in Chinese. To outsiders, it seems as if the person understands Chinese. But inside, the person is just following instructions. No meaning, no comprehension. Philosopher John Searle designed this scenario to challenge the notion that computers, which manipulate symbols, can truly understand. Is intelligence just the mechanical shuffling of information? Or does real understanding require something deeper? Consciousness, meaning, intentionality? The Chinese room forces us to ask, can machines ever think, or do they merely simulate thinking? And what exactly makes a mind more than an algorithm? As we weave these thought experiments together, notice the common thread. They all stretch our intuition, forcing us to confront the boundaries between certainty and doubt, mind and matter, possibility and impossibility. Each one opens a door, a way to peer beyond the ordinary, to ask uncomfortable questions that linger in the corners of consciousness. Roko's Basilisk warns us about the unintended consequences of knowledge and the strange logic of future AI. It's a story of responsibility and the ethical weight of our actions, even those we take in silence. Quantum immortality invites us to question the stability of our own survival, hinting that the self is not a singular stable entity, but a branching pattern across the multiverse. Mary's room reveals the depth of subjective experience, challenging the reduction of consciousness to mere computation or physical facts. Last Thursdayism reminds us that skepticism isn't just an intellectual exercise, it's a live possibility, lurking beneath every assumption. Boltzmann Brains play with the mathematics of existence, forcing us to consider whether our experience is special or just a statistical anomaly. Eternal return transforms the abstract passage of time into a call for courage and affirmation, urging us to embrace our choices as if they matter forever. The Chinese room asks what it means to truly understand, and whether the spark of consciousness is something that machines can ever grasp. Why do these experiments matter? Because in everyday life, we operate with a set of unspoken rules. That the world is real, that our minds are stable, that our choices are meaningful. These scenarios poke holes in those assumptions. They don't just entertain, they illuminate. They help us see the edges of our own map of reality and invite us to draw it a little wider. Think about your daily routine. When you wake up, you trust that yesterday happened and that tomorrow will arrive. You believe your memories are real, that your thoughts are yours, and that the world outside your window is stable and predictable. But what if, behind the scenes, reality is far stranger than it appears? What if your consciousness is just a flicker in a sea of possibility? What if your choices echo through endless cycles? Or your mind is just a pattern in a cosmic simulation? Here's the practical takeaway. You don't have to accept every wild hypothesis as literal truth, but exploring these ideas gives you tools, a kind of mental flexibility. You learn to spot hidden assumptions, to question easy answers, to see your own life with fresh eyes. If you ever feel stuck, trapped by routine, or overwhelmed by uncertainty, remember the lessons of these philosophical puzzles. You are always free to ask questions, to see the world anew, to imagine beyond the limits of the ordinary. Imagine you're in a conversation and someone says, "What if we're all just brains in a vat?" Don't dismiss it as nonsense. Ask, what would follow if that were true? What does it say about evidence, trust, and the nature of mind? That's the power of thought experiments. They sharpen your intuition, expand your empathy, and open doors to unexpected insights. Let's bring it back to the present moment. As you listen to these thought experiments, you might feel a mix of wonder, confusion, and even anxiety. That's natural. Philosophy isn't just about finding answers. It's about learning to live with questions. It's about seeing the richness of the world, even when certainty slips away. You gain not just knowledge, but resilience, the ability to face uncertainty without fear. Tonight, as you prepare for rest, let these ideas linger. Imagine the Basilisk, the quantum multiverse, Mary's first glimpse of color, the strange possibility of last Thursday, the fleeting Boltzmann brain, the infinite cycles of eternal return, and the silent machinery of the Chinese room. Each one is a window, a way to glimpse the mystery at the heart of existence. And remember, you don't have to solve these puzzles to benefit from them. The value is in the journey, the process of questioning, wondering, and growing. As you fall asleep, let your mind wander. Dream of universes where time loops, where consciousness flickers across infinity, where understanding is both elusive and profound. Embrace the paradox, the uncertainty, and the beauty of not knowing. In a world filled with answers, cherish the questions. They are the compass that guides you beyond the horizon into the deeper layers of reality and into the heart of your own experience. Sleep smarter tonight, knowing that the world is larger, stranger, and more wondrous than you ever imagined.